Right, 23% as a fraction. Percent means out of 100, so that is 23 out of 100. 800 centimetres to a metre, well, there's 100 centimetres in a metre, so if we divide that by 100, we get 8 metres. Write down the value of the 3 in the number 62,837. So the 3 is worth 30. 7a add a is 8a, take away 5a gives me 3a. Write the following fractions in order of size, start with the smallest. Well, we have a half, 2/3 and a quarter. A quarter is less than a half, quarter is less than a half, and 2/3 is more than a half. So it's going to be a quarter, half, 2/3. A map has a scale of 1 centimetre equals 4 kilometres. On the map, the distance from town A to B is 8 centimetres. Work out the real distance. So 1 centimetre equals 4 kilometres. So 8 centimetres, we've times that by 8. So we times this by 8 and we get 32 kilometres. The real length of a road is 10 kilometres. Work out the length of the road on the map. So again, 1 centimetre equals 4 kilometres. Now, if we want 10 kilometres, what is 10 divided by 4? That's 2.5. So we have times that by 2.5. 1 times 2.5 is 2.5 centimetres. Julie asked some students how they travel to school. The chart shows her results. So bus is 9 students, car is 7 students, cycle is 3 students, walk is 8 students, and other is 1 student. Write down the method of travel is the mode. The mode is the one that appears the most, so that is bus. More students walk to school than cycle. How many more? So that was 8 to take away 3, which gives us 5. Aisha was born in 1993. There was an election in the year of her 18th birthday. There is an election every 5 years. Will there be an election in 2030? So she was born in 1993, and then we're going to add 18 years for her birthday. So 1993, add 18 years, takes us to 2011. Now, there's an election every 5 years. Will there be an election in 2030? So the year 2030 to 2011 gives us 19. So no, that is not divisible by 5 because the election was every 5 years, so no. Lucia is going on a skiing holiday. The cost of ski hire is £26 per day. The cost of the lift pass is £45 per day. The cost of ski lessons is £23.50 per hour. She's going to pay for ski hire for 5 days. So ski hire is £26 and she's going to do that for 5 days. A lift pass, which is £45, and she's going to have that for 4 days. And a ski lesson is £23.50 per hour, and she's going to have 8 hours. So if we put that all into our calculator, that gives us a total cost of £498. She has £500. Does she have enough? Yes. Here's a circle. On the diagram, draw a radius. So the radius goes from the centre to the outside. Here's another circle. Write down the name for the straight line inside this circle. So this line here is called a chord. There are 8 episodes in a TV series. Each episode lasts 45 minutes. Work out the total time that the 8 episodes last. So 45 times 8 gives us 360. And we know there's 60 minutes in an hour. So 360 divided by 60 gives me 6 hours. Write down 3 prime numbers that are between 20 and 40. So if I write down my numbers, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. We know that prime numbers can only be divided by 1 and themselves. So I can cross off all the even numbers because they can also be divided by 2. I can cross off all the numbers that can be divided by 3. Remember, we add the two numbers. 2 add 1 is 3, so that's divisible by 3. 33, 3 add 3 is 6. 6 is divisible by 3, so that is divisible by 3. Or we can say 21 and then add 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Can they be divisible by 5? 35 can be divided by 5. So what we are left is our prime numbers. So any of these numbers will do. It wants 3 of them and you have a choice of 4. So I'm going to choose 23, 29 and 31. James asked students in year 10 and 11 to name their favourite language from French, German or Spanish. The two-way table shows his results. So remember, we're looking for a line that has one gap. So 34 add what is 67? That's going to be 33. I know this number plus this number must equal 207. So that is going to be 94. Looking along this line here, 33 add 34, add this number, makes 94. So that's 27. 113, take away 33, take away 45, gives me 35. 33 add 35 is 68. 27 add 45 is 72. And that is completed. The table gives information about the drinks people ordered in a cafe. 30 people had coffee, 10 had hot chocolate, and 50 had tea. Draw an accurate pie chart for this information. So we need to add these up. So we've got 50 add 10 is 60. Add 30 is 90. So what do we times 90 by to get to 360? That gives us 4. So we're timesing these by 4. 30 times 4 is 120 degrees. 10 times 4 is 40 degrees. And 50 times 4 is 200 degrees. So I'd use my protractor. Make sure the back of the protractor is on the line. Put the protractor on. So I'm going to start with 120. So I find 0. I'll go around to 120. And it's going to be roughly here. Now make sure you mark it straight away so you don't get confused. So there's the coffee. The hot chocolate is going to be here. And the tea is going to be left over here. So that's roughly, but make sure you've measured these angles accurately. Which is greater, 15% of 88 or 20% of 62? So 15% of 88 equals 13.2 and 20% of 62 equals 12.4. So which one is greater? This one is greater. Simplify. Now remember, if we're timesing, we change the indices. So that is going to be M4. In a competition, a player gets 5 points for each game they win, 2 points for each game they draw, and 0 points for each game they lose. She wins X games. Now for a win, that was 5 points. So that's going to be 5W. She draws Y games. So it's 2 points for a draw. So that's 2Y. And it's an AND, which is add. So it's going to be 5W, add 2Y. Here are the ingredients needed to make 20 shortbread biscuits. Heidi wants to make 30 biscuits. So how do we get from 20 to 30? So we can divide by 2 to get to 10 and then times by 3 to get to 30. So for each of these we would do 120 divided by 2 times 30 is going to give me 180 grams of butter. For the flour, it's going to be 200 divided by 2 times 30, which gives me 300. And for the sugar, it's going to be 50 divided by 2 times 30, which gives me 75 grams. On the grid above, rotate the shape 180 degrees about 0.00. So we're going to put our cross on there, that's the point of rotation. You're going to put your tracing paper over, draw around that shape. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees, so that's 2 right angles. Doesn't matter which way we go, and you're going to end up with a shape that is here. Mike was asked to reflect shape A in the line with the equation x equals 3. So the line with the equation x equals 3 is here. That's going through the x-axis at 3. So what has he done wrong? He's done a reflection in the y-axis. So he's reflected in the line y equals 3, not x equals 3. On the grid below, draw the graph of y equals 3x minus 2. So see this nice big space here. In here, we need to draw our x, y table. So we've got x and y, and it needs to go from minus 2 to 3. So minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. You can use your calculator to put those values in, as this is a paper 3. If you didn't have a calculator, you would put the values in. So with the equation y equals 3x minus 2, when x is 0, that would be 3 times 0 is 0, minus 2, that would be minus 2. I would use a calculator, and the answers would be 1, 4, 7, minus 5, minus 8. Then we're going to plot those on the graph. When x is minus 2, y is minus 8, which is here. When x is minus 1, y is minus 5. When x is 0, y is minus 2. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 4. And when x is 3, y is 7. And join those up using a ruler, unlike me. Question 20. ABC and BCD are isosceles triangles. So we can see this side and this side are equal, so that is an isosceles. And this side are equal, so that's another isosceles. We know angle BCD, this angle here, is 4 times angle ABC. So if we make that x, this is going to be 4x. Now we want to find the size of angle ABC to the size of angle CBD. So I'm going to begin by this triangle here. If this is an isosceles, I know this one must be 81. So angle X is going to be 180, take away 81, which gives me 18. If I know that angle there is 18, I know this one is 4 times 18, which gives me 72. Again, we have another isosceles here. If this is 72, then the bottom angles are going to be 180, take away 72, which gives me 108, and divide 108 by 2 gives me 54 for each of these. Now it says the size of angle ABC, which was 18, as a ratio to the size of angle CBD, which was 54. Now these can both be divided by 18, which gives me the ratio 1 to 3. 1 to 3. Factorise 6x minus 15. Now these can both be divided by 3. So I'm going to take 3 out, and that is going to give me 2x minus 5. Factorise m squared plus 5m. I can factorise out m, and that's going to give me m plus 5. Find the highest common factor of 63 and 105. Now remember, we can also do this on the calculator. 63 is 3 times 21. That's your prime number, and 21 is 3 times 7. And 105 is 5 times 21. 5 is a prime number, and again 3 times 7. Now I'm going to do my Venn diagram. What have they got in common? 3 in both, so I'm going to put that in the middle. They've got a 7 in both, so I'm going to put that in the middle. 63 has also got a 3, and 105 has also got a 5. And if I want the highest common factor, I am multiplying 3 times 7, which gives me 21. Right, 5.3 times 10 to the 4 as an ordinary number. So 5.3, I'm going to move that decimal place 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can put zeros in there and I get 53000. 7.4 times 10 to the minus 5. So I'm going to go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put zeros in here. There's your decimal point and there's a 0. So it's 0.000074. Calculate this, well, you would put that straight into your calculator. If you put that into your calculator, you would get the answer 3.42 times 10 to the 7. Question 24. The diagram is showing a solid triangular prism. Raina is trying to draw the side elevation of the solid prism from the direction of the arrow, so from here. Here's her answer. So when she looks at it, it is going to be a width of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is done correctly. Now the height is not going to be 4. That is the diagonal length. The height is going to be this, which is not 4. What we would have to do to find the actual height is some Pythagoras. So if we just look at the triangle here, we know that's 4. We know this is going to be half of 6, so that's 3. So this height would be 4 squared minus 3 squared, which gives me 16 minus 9, which is 7. And remember, that's h squared. So the height would be root 7. The square root height would be square root of 7, not 4. On the centimetre grid below, draw a plan of the solid prism. So if we go back to this, we can see that it's going to go along 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's going to go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. To there. Now there is a line. So we go back to this. There is this line in the middle here. So I'm going to pop that in and that's going to go across there. So that's the plan. The picture of it from above is the plan. A company has 25,000 workers. The number of workers increases at a rate of 6% per year for 3 years. Calculate the total number of workers at the end. So we're going to use our compound interest, 25,000 times 1.06 to the power of 3. And if I put that into my calculator, I get 29775.4. Now that's not a whole number of workers, so we need a whole number of workers. So the answer is going to be 29775. Habib has 2 identical tins. He puts 600 grams of flour into one of the tins. The flour fills the tin completely. The density of the flour is 0.6. So density is mass over volume. The mass is going to be 600 grams. And the density is 0.6. So the volume of the tin is going to be 600 divided by 0.6, which is 1,000 centimetre cubed. Now, Habib puts 600 grams of salt into another tin. It's already said these tins are identical. So we know the volume of this other tin must also be the same. The salt does not fill the tin. The volume of the space left is 700. So if we say 1,000, take away 700 leaves us with 300 centimetre cubed. So the volume of the salt is 300. Again, our density, mass, volume for the salt. So the mass and the density. The density here is what we need to find out. The volume of the space, the mass is 600. and the volume is 300. So 600 divided by 300 gives me 2 grams per centimetre cubed. Tim has 2 biased coins, A and B. The probability that coin A will land on heads is 0.6, so this must be 0.4 because they must add to 1. If this is 0.55, this must be 0.45 because they add to 1, and these two are repeated from above. Tim throws coin A once and he throws coin B once. What's the probability they'll land on heads? Probability for heads on the first one is 0.6, and on heads the second one is 0.5. So it's 0.6 times 0.55, which gives me the answer of 0.33. A paddling pool is in the shape of a cylinder. The pool has a radius of 100, the pool has a depth of 30. The pool is empty. It's then filled with water at a rate of 250 centimetre cubed per second. Work out the number of minutes it takes to fill the pool. So we need to begin by finding the volume of the pool. And to find the volume, we find the area of the top face and we times it by how long it is. So the area of the circle is pi r squared. And we're going to times that by the height, and that gives us 300,000 pi centimetre cubed. Now the rate it tells us is 250. So the rate is the volume divided by the time. We know the rate is 250. We want to find the time, so let's times both sides by time and divide both sides by rate. So the time is going to equal the volume divided by the rate, which is 300,000 pi divided by 250. If I put that into my calculator, it gives me 3769.9, and that's per second. The answer wants it in minutes. So we're going to divide that by 60 to get it into minutes, and we get 62.83, and it wants the answer to the nearest minute. So that's going to be 63 minutes. W equals 40 minus t squared. Calculate the value of W when t is minus 5. Now this is a calculator paper. Be very careful. The calculator will give you minus 5 squared, the answer wrong. We know that minus 5 squared is going to give us positive 25. The calculator will say negative 25. So that's going to be 40, take away 25, which gives us the answer of 15. Make h the subject, so I'm going to times both sides by 3, which gives me 3p equals h minus 5. And then I'm going to add 5 to both sides, which gives me 3p, add 5 equals h. So h equals 3p, add 5.